recording here, then we can go ahead and get started.
Hello.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, same basic thing every single time.
Objective.
We're looking at nano targets. So obviously nano blade and Genshi be number 1. Then we probably be going for the full charge Zarya as number 2, and then maybe like a ball who's slamming in as number 3.
Greetings. Check this out.
What the heck is that? How does a far off the map 2 seconds into the game?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I don't remember.
Alrighty, so gotta be careful of these nades when people don't actually need them, right? So we come in here, the healing nade is only going to be necessary when somebody's in direct pressure and is about to die, right? Hanzo doesn't have too many people on top of him, right? Literally nobody on top of him. So if somebody, when it comes to someone like needing the healing need, right? It's not just down to, is this person critical, because people are gonna be critical all the time. If you have a teammate who, let's say you have a teammate who's on the other side of the map or over here, or even just where Hanzo is right now, right? And he doesn't have anybody on top of him and he's critical, Nade's not necessary because he's still safe. He's not about to die. Nade is necessary, for example, if the Zarya was critical and she has Monkey on top of her and a couple people on top of her, so she's in a lot of danger, and that nade will be needed to burst heal her. So in this situation on the Hanzo, it's just not needed, and then that results in us not having the nade for when the ball gets on top of us. Okay, so we do luckily hit the sleep. Since we have absolutely nothing to duel the ball, we need to just run away from him, because then that ends up happening. So we gotta do our best to just kind of run towards our teammates. We should be. Is this a? This is just ranked game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should be requesting healing to hopefully get your Lucio to come over to you. And then besides that, just run over to your teammates and hope that they can body block for you.
The objective is now. في الامتحان يكرم المرء أو يهان.
Hello.
Hello. Get back in the fight.
Let's get you healed up. My ultimate is charging.
I will keep you healed.
Hello. Ahí, sí. Yes.
أنا هاخد
blade
بالي منك.
is ready to be unleashed. My ultimate is ready. My blade is ready to be
This will
unleashed.
help.
My ultimate is ready. My blade is ready to be unleashed. My ultimate is
My
ready.
ultimate is ready. You're called out.
Alrighty, so let's retake a look at this fight. So we're lagging a little bit behind their Genji. He's just kind of spamming at us. We used looks like we used our abilities a little bit too early here. So let's see, what do we use that nade on?
My blade is ready to
Okay, again, maybe a situation where the nade isn't needed for the healing, specifically because of the reason that from Ball's point of view, right, there's not much that can shoot him. He's almost out of harm's way. He's still, because he is a tank, he still does have a lot of HP when we throw that nade. Let's see, where's Ball at? He has 300 HP, right? So he's not about to die. He's not in the middle of their team. He's very far out of their team. Nobody's near him, so he's not going to take damage in the near future. So be very, very hesitant to use your nades or your nades for the healing if it's not necessary. So I probably say it's because that's happened twice so far, so you have to be very, very careful about that. And then that means that in a second here, we're not going to have nade for when we actually get dove on. Okay, sleep. Again, kind of.
I'm not really
it
sure
up.
what that sleep was for.
Because the ball kind of came at us, so I think it was trying to hit the ball.
my blade.
So with our sleeps, just make sure we're not panicking those. We usually are gonna have a lot of time to react. So unless they're coming at us with a nano blade, or unless they're diving us with multiple people, if it's just a ball slamming us or just a monkey coming at us, try not to panic. You have a good 3 seconds before they're actually going to kill you. So don't try to hit them while they're midair, or don't try to hit them when they're in the middle of slamming you, because then that's just going to deorient. What do you call it? How do you say that? Disorient you, and it's going to be very hard for you to land your sleep. Wait until after they've hit you, and then you can launch sleep after the ball slammed in the ground, or the monkeys landed, and then we can fire the sleep. Or the alternative to that would be to try to hit them midair, but you just don't want to get them while they're in the process of about to be hitting you, because that's where it's the hardest to get them. But here we're gonna see that, yeah, we got the nail blade off, but the big problem here is that we're in a poor position where we're just kind of chilling out in the open here, right? So poor positioning, and then the second thing is look at our cooldowns, right, on our abilities. We got nothing because if you use both of them, right? So keep in mind that when we might have discussed. Sorry, I accidentally tossed my mouse, and that's where my push to talk is. So keep in mind, we might have talked about this previously, but when the enemy team is on a dive, we are changing up our play style to where now we're holding on to our abilities much more often than if the enemy team is not on a dive, because this is where they're all going to be clumped up, right? Is when they're diving us. So, right here. Oh, come on. So right here, when we end up getting dove. This is where if we throw a nade at ourselves, we get self heals, so we stay alive longer. We get monkey, and then if ball, we potentially get ball too, right? So whenever they dive us, we're getting multiple antis and getting the self heals, so we survive longer. So whereas if we're looking for aggressive antis, that's not going to be nearly as easy when they're on a dive, because they're all going to be spread out. Like, look at where they're all at on this map right now. We're not going to be able to get any aggressive antis when they're like that. So instead, we're going to be looking to use it for ourselves a lot more often, because we're a good dive target. We can be fairly confident that they're going to come to us. Now, if they never do end up coming to us, then you can use nade aggressively. But in situations like this, we wanted to have our nade and we wanted to have our sleep for the defensive capabilities, so that we have it to stay alive longer. So that goes into that goes into every team comp that we're up against, right? Whether it's our team comp or the enemy team comp, will dictate our playstyle and will change how we're playing. If we're up against a dive, we're going to be playing completely differently than if we're up against a spam. Have we gone over? Okay, I'm scrolling up and it does not look like it. So we haven't gone over the different types of team comps in the game. Are you familiar with the 3 team comps in the game?
Yeah, I know the general idea of all of them.
Mm. So, or I guess name them for me real quick, just so we can get that out of the way.
Spam, dive, and brawl.
Yep, exactly. So just know that when we're up against those 3 comps, we're changing our playstyle completely against each one, and uh, what our team is as well, right? So our team comp's always going to be, our playstyle is always going to be different based off of those characters and those comps.
It'll take more than that to keep me out of the fight.
I'm on fire. Hello, hello.
You have my thanks.
Get back in
You
the
have
fight.
my thanks. My ultimate is charging.
Hello, hello. I am ready to activate the sound barrier.
Alrighty, so we also had gone over ult tracking at some point. So I think I've said this last time too, I think. So your other teammate does the ult tracking for your team. But have you been keeping up with that at all in these games specifically, or in ranked?
Yes, for the most part I kind of keep it to myself because I'm not
Uh-huh.
incredibly confident on it yet. But
Yeah.
I've been trying. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So then let's just so we can get used to it and get better at it, we can go through the ult tracking process here, right? So we ult track, we see, okay, they have Blade, they have Rowley, they have Primal. So whenever they have Primal, we have to be trying to focus on sleeping that, because he's usually going to be very easy to sleep as long as we're timing it correctly. Now we have to have some sort of counter to beat or to blade. Of course, now if we look at top right, we do have a beat, so we would just be calling out we're using beat for blade. We can probably look to sleep the primal, and then besides that, we don't really have much to worry about on our end. We can look for a grab dragon. That should be the play that our team is looking for this fight. So we can call that out and try to combo those ultimates, and then just tell Lucio to beat for the blade. Okay, so it looks like we know that they're going right side.
Watching your back.
Alrighty, so maybe a little bit far back here. We've talked about the three check marks of Ana positioning, right? The 3 check boxes.
Yes, I believe so. Kind of shortly, like at the end of one of our sessions.
Yeah, okay, so we haven't gone to depth on them. Well, did I go and demonstrate them in the trading range or no?
Yeah, you did. My
Yeah,
bad.
okay. Um, well, keep in mind, right? Check box number 1 is can't put yourself in a position to where you can see the most of your team, right? The majority of your team. Can you see your team? Here, we can't see 1, 2, or I guess this doesn't really make it easy to see them. Okay, we can't see Genji, we can't see Lucio, we can't see Zarya. Hanzo's almost out of our line of sight. We can't see Ball, so we can't see really half our team from this angle. We're pretty safe from this angle, but it's also probably gonna be pretty difficult to land nades in from here. Okay, so we do end up landing a nade, huge.
Double kill. I've seen worse. You're going
Yeah,
to
so just an angle that was a little bit far back, right? So if you know that the fight's happening over here, we might want to consider just pushing up a little bit, very slightly, so that we can land better nades and we can see more of our team. Because it's gonna be easier to get Lucio if we can just move to the side here and see him, than if we're all the way back here. We don't really have that option.
Hello, yo.
Oh, Ahlan.
Sorry, that's a little DM.
Oh, let's break it down.
No, you're good. Alrighty, so
Follow through.
coming in next game, different team composition. What would be in 1, 2, and 3 for our Nano priority list?
Reaper, High Charge Zarya, and then Ball.
Yep. Reaper with Death Blossom specifically, usually, right? Because Reaper without the Death Blossom is just an okay target. He's usually not the best. So I would do a high charge Zarya over a normal Reaper. But I'm gonna assume they or I think they might have been implying that anyways. Okay. Be careful with those sleep usages. Make sure that the first thing we're looking at is their team composition. As currently we haven't seen much of what they're running, so we have to be careful because they could be on a dive still, right? Now this, of course, isn't a good dive map, but we have to be careful about lobbing out sleeps when they potentially have more things that can come and get on us in a second.
You're going to be okay.
Okay. Yeah, so far nade usage again is seeming like one of the bigger things because we have last round we were struggling with our nade usage. This round and we've whiffed some of them, and we haven't really hit many antis.
Patched up. I will keep you healed.
You feel that?
Walk it off. Taking the objective. Support requested. Die feeder. Go. I'm securing the objective.
Watching this back does not look like a diamond game.
Boy,
What do you say?
I said watching this back does not look like a diamond game.
Yeah, just be careful about your positioning there on point, or that's gonna be like the when we're trying to cap and they're trying to contest. That's the most dangerous place for us to be.
the tempo.
But yeah, so far, just 5 minutes in, it's seeming like the two biggest things are pretty much the same thing as you mentioned in the beginning, are just gonna be nade usage and ability usage, and then how we're positioning ourselves. Our ultimate we got off smoothly when I think we've only used one ult I think so far. I think with the
Yes.
nano blade that got off smoothly. Our sleep usage, I think, needs a little bit of work too. We haven't landed too many of those. I think we landed one on the ball originally, but I can't recall any others. So we've landed. Just gotta make sure we're also trying to step that up. Um, let's see. Mechanics seem fine. We're hitting, regular primary shots. We're able to heal and damage people accordingly. So that doesn't seem like it needs too much work. So it really just sounds to me like it's the same stuff as last time. But that could, be subject to change in the rest of the, 40 minutes that we have left in the session. Oh, why is Hanzo running away? All right.
I think he told me he was low and had to go to point. I can't remember.
Oh, he wasn't.
Heal up.
He was. I mean, he wasn't. Wasn't super low, but Okay, Reaper came back and helped you. Gotta be careful on your own. Now, you did get assistance, but you didn't know you're going to get assistance. In this situation, I'd probably say this was a mistake that you got saved from by your Reaper. She would have been able to. Let's see, does she have recall available? I know, probably.
No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. Okay, yeah. So actually, because she doesn't have recall, you're probably fine here. But
Heal up. I'm on fire. Keep
yeah,
out of
okay.
my way.
Let the dragon confront
No, you're good.
Готовности.
Yep, again, with two abilities, really got to put in the thought and effort into them, so we're not just completely whiffing nade, firing off a sleep when they're already bubbled, right?
Go. I'll keep you healed. This will only
Again, just kind of chucking it in. It's when you're using it, you can just kind of see just by spectating that it doesn't seem like when we're throwing our nade that we put much deliberation into it. We kind of line it up for half a second, and then we just chuck it out there.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
My ultimate is almost ready.
The pain is coming.
Fire at will. That's how we do it.
Alrighty.
Get back in the fight.
So we got off the combo. Reaper no longer is ult, so we're thinking of how we're using our nano. Luckily for us, Zarya is full charge, so we can go for that
Ahlan.
this fight.
Acknowledged.
See through the dragon's eyes.
Name.
Oh, very nice sleep. Good nade, but we also track a little bit too far onto the open, and that results in us getting hooked, right? So if we look at our positioning, a little too far out in the open, it's not necessarily the aggression, because if we're standing right here, right on this corner, then we can break the hook by walking to the right. But because we're out in the open, that results in us getting hooked and then dying here. So probably I like the ability usage there. We had a good ability usage. We were just out of position and out in the open, and that resulted in our death.
Keep me out of the fight.
I mean, probably nano. As soon as we get the chance on Zarya here.
Get healed.
Don't want to be too late with it. Just keep in mind, when it's the last fight like that, no reason to hold on to it.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Alrighty, so
Victory.
yep, we can probably just go hop into that other one now. Not too much to review. Big things besides, there's a few tinier points in there. On dive, make sure that you're holding onto your abilities for yourself. Make sure you're not holding onto nano boost. And then big two would be positioning. Remember the three kind of check boxes that you're looking to check off as Ana. 1, can I see my team? 2, can the enemy team see me? You don't want them to be able to see you. And 3, am I in a position where I can land nades? Okay. On top of that, make sure you're standing next to cover at all times, or as often as possible. And then with our ability usage, really put a lot more thought and deliberation into how we're using our nades, how we're using our sleeps, because a lot of the time we just end up whiffing them, and we lose a whole lot of value out of them. Okay, hopefully, yeah, if I don't want to just be a broken record over and over again for this next one. So if we're just struggling with the same things, I might just momentarily point them out, but then I'll just move on and try to find other things. So that I'm not just repeating nades positioning, nades positioning.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hands to focus.
Alrighty, so we're taking a look at our team compositions. Currently, our team is on a kind of a hybrid composition. We don't really have much of anything. We have 3 brawl characters, me being Ursaria, us, and Reinhardt. We have 2 spam characters, being Zenyatta and the Ashe, and then we have a Tracer who's just mixed in there. Enemy team is mainly on a brawl, with 4 brawl characters. Then for our nano targets, we have our Reinhardt, full charge Zarya, and then besides that, I'd maybe go with like a Nano Bob or something like that. We just got to make sure that they don't have a sleep for Bob and that he's in a good position.
We shall prove ourselves in glorious combat.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Group up. I am taking the objective.
Hey, good job following our team in here.
Go. I keep you healed.
Hmm.
Go. I keep
Grenade. Remember, we don't need to be scoped in that range, right? We're just when we're 10 inches from them, no reason to scope.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
Alrighty. So here bad positioning once again, or this is like a positioning slash decision making thing. Here we kind of leave our team, so we see our team walks in there. We don't want to peek on the open because of soldier, but coming high ground here probably isn't the play. Instead, we just can wait main, and we can see our team from this angle if we need to. But they're probably like they're not gonna wrap all the way around this way. They're gonna come back on the point, so we can just see them very easily when they come to point. Here, us walking up the stairway means that we make it so that okay, bad positioning again, right? Can't see team, can't land nades, and then we're isolating ourselves for where the enemy, i.e. Tracer here, can come and get on us, and we kind of isolate ourselves here, and then kind of that just means that we end up losing the duel against her. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you're forced into the duel, try your hardest not to use both abilities until after Tracer has used Recall. That way, we have an ability to finish her off. And here as well, we probably should use this nade preferably to keep ourselves alive rather than damage her, right? When we're down that health. We can attempt to maybe get closer to her and hit both of us, but we also need this for ourselves. So just some dueling Tracer tips, right? We want to force out her recall and then either save the sleep for after she's out of recall or the nade for after she's out of recall. If we use both of them before she recalls, then she's just going to recall out of our nade, or she's going to recall, after we use our sleep, and then that means that we don't get any value out of and we don't end up killing her. So they're out of position, bad decision, and then we lose the duel of Tracer.
Man on the beach.
I am capturing the objective. Try and
Objective
stop
A
me.
captured.
ultimate is charging.
Escort the payload.
I'm moving out.
Ahlan, take your medicine.
Good sleep, very good sleep. And then I think that's an okay nade too, right? Because this is a situation where this is much different than the situation with our Hanzo in the last map. Reinhardt is on the front line, being swung on by Reinhardt and has a soldier shooting at him as well, right? So this is a situation where Reinhardt's in much more danger than some of the other times we've used nade for healing. So this is an okay nade for healing.
My ultimate is almost ready. It's just a
Alrighty, so we're looking for a nano boost at some point this fight, maybe.
heal up. Get back in the
I want to look to use nano. Have we talked about? I guess even if we have talked about it, I'll still go over it again. Make sure looking to use our ultimates at the very beginning of fights. The longer we hold on to our ultimates, the less value they get. If we use our nano, for example, after they use their nano on their team, their nano ends up getting kills, doing damage, and then that means that now we're at a man disadvantage. And if we use nano now, it's going to get less value because we have less follow up and less teammates alive. So the earlier we use our ults is the better. Try not to hold on to them, and we'll see a lot more value.
Get in there.
Okay, again, prioritize the nade on yourself over the nade for the damage if we're about to die, because it's unless that's a 5-man nade that you're chucking in, you're gonna get more value out of staying alive. Now, sometimes, right? Don't get me wrong. It's Overwatch is very, very situational. Sometimes getting that nade off is going to be better than staying alive, right? A 5-man nade, 6-man nade, 4-man nade, right? Can be more valuable than your life in some situations, but not in this one when we didn't even land. It doesn't even look like we landed a one-person nade, right? So if we have 3 people on us, we purple Lucio, we heal ourselves, right? And then we can survive longer in the fight, heal more people. So again, just bad ability usage, and on top of that, decision making. Which decision making is like every aspect of the game. So it's very difficult to say like you're bad at decision making, get better at decision making, because that's literally decision making affects where you stand. Decision making affects how you use your abilities, affects how you use your ult, affects how you make any choice in the game. So oftentimes I'm not gonna just say you're bad at decision making, because that's not really something that's not a, I guess, active step to improvement. That's an overall arching um, thing that's messed up, right? Because I probably say the kind of the biggest problem that you have is your decision making, but that's not really something that you can directly work on. Decision making something that is going to be something that will get better as you work on all these different areas, but we have to kind of hone in on those specific areas.
Let's try that again.
I will keep you healed.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
The payload moves.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
Alrighty, we can do, since we have a lot of time in between this fight, we can do some quick ult tracking. They have a visor, they have mines, we have pulse, we have bob, we almost have grab, and we also almost have shatter as well. So let's see, visor, just let our team know. Mines, just let our team know. There's not too much to worry about with both of those. We just need to make sure that we're watching out for soldier flanking, ball flanking, because they both might go for it, and then maybe we can land the sleep on one of them. Because those are, ball might, instead of, it's possible that ball come in through the high ground flank angle rather than just coming straight up through main. But it's also very possible that he just comes in through main.
Take your medicine.
Okay, right now we're a little bit far back from the fight.
This will
Okay,
help.
good job, good nade, right? Purple ball, healing on a Reinhardt, so it's got us a whole lot of value. Alrighty.
I've got you in my
Is
sights.
approaching its destination.
Enemy contact.
Nap time.
Fire at will.
Good sleep. Not as good nade.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
Remember, your nade has an arc to it, so we need to account for the arc. It's not going to go straight to where we aim our crosshair.
Experience tranquility.
Alrighty. I liked your positioning in terms of how far back you were there. Good job not getting on the point because you know you don't want to get on point if that's where they have to go to stall.
Ready for battle. Five, four, three, two.
Alrighty, so they have we for nanos, right? We have pretty much the same thing as last time. Our comp is literally the same as last time. Their comp is all over the place. They look like mainly a span. I don't know. They're like a big old hybrid composition on their team, so they're not really running anything. Specifically, that's kind of a ranked comp. So just gotta be careful of the ball on top of trying to get on top of us. Good position. I like the positioning to start off here.
The greatest enemy is that which lies
You're going to be okay.
Yep. We have talked about the scope and nade tech, right?
Yes.
Yep. So this is a perfect opportunity where we can look for this. Is instead of focusing too much on healing or damaging the ball then when ball swings out, um, because he's not going to do a whole lot of damage. But we know that there's a very, very high likelihood that it's not just ball and high ground, right? What are the chances that every single other person goes a different direction but ball? We see shots come out. We see a bubble come out from Zarya. We see, Zarya's beam come out. So what we can do right now is line up a nade for right here so we can hit the people when we see them poke out from the high ground, and then we can get a big fat nade in there from here. Right, so we just again we want to make sure that by default we're actively looking to land those nades, right? And we're trying to land those anti nades. So here we should be chucking in a nade because we probably won't need it for ourselves. Like at most, when ball comes in to get us, all we need is a sleep, right? We only need one ability to save our lives as long as they're not on a full dive. If they're on a full dive, right, then we can save both of them for ourselves. But they have one dive character, right? So we really only need either nade or sleep. So that means that we can use the other ability, probably nade, to throw in aggressively and get on top of all of them.
You'll be fine.
Okay, good positioning here, right? So from this positioning, we can land nades semi-decently from a side angle because they're not going to be solo shielding us if our team is, holding this direction. We have good survivability because we're really far away from the fight, and we can see pretty much all of everything from here. We can see high ground, point, and then enemies can't really see us too well up here. And if they do go to see us, we have piece of cover right here, piece of cover on this side, and then we can get orb and team support if we need it. So this is a really, really good positioning on this map. If they were on a full dive, like if they weren't just on a ball, then we might want to consider playing on top of our tanks more though.
Watching your
But it's good because of the comp that we're on, we're up against here. Alrighty.
you healed.
We see our whole team's shooting in there. It's a high likelihood that they're coming through that direction, so we can just look to get ready to chuck in a nade. Be careful about how far out in the open we're positioning ourselves, right? Maybe hug this a little bit more so that we can just go like boop, and when we start getting shot at. Very nice nade. Or, it didn't hit anything, but good attempt at it. I like that we were actually looking for it.
You're going to be okay.
Yep. If your team's push up like that, there's nothing you can do but just communicate and say, hey, guys, back up. I can't see you. You're out of my line of sight.
Get back in the fight.
Alrighty. They're coming up through main now. We have a nano, but we also have 5 ults, so we might not need everything. So this is where ult tracking, or sorry, ult planning might come into play, because they have 1, 2, almost 3 or 4 ults. We have 5 ults, so we might not need to use all 5. We might only need to use 3 or 4. So probably can, since they don't have anything specifically that we need trance for this fight, we can say, okay, use trance only if we need it. And then we can like grab Nano Ryan or something of the like.
Fire at will.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, so we did Nano Zarya because Reinhardt wasn't close enough, so that is good. Alrighty, so yeah, honestly that went pretty well for us, except for the fact that they only use 1 ultimate. So because they use 1 single ult, that means that now the ult advantage has been flipped in their favor. They have 1, 2, 3. We only have 1, 2. So that's not gonna be great for us. So that's why ult communication can come into play a little bit, because we say we're using grab Nano Reinhardt or Nano Zarya, right? And then that way our team knows, okay, I'm only using my ult if we need it. So instead of popping all 3 at the same time, and then now they're at the advantage currently. Just gotta watch out for we just tell our team they have High Noon, they have Visor, and then we just gotta watch our team, or we gotta watch our positioning specifically, right? Making sure we're next to cover. Request. Oh,
Heal up. Name.
Vamos esculachar!
Back off.
Experience tranquility.
Rock it off.
righty. So we need the
Experience.
first off, we need the nade for self heals. Probably would get. I prioritize getting yourself back to full HP so you can stay alive in the fight longer. Second off, okay, look at the nade usage. Transcendence in here. Zarya's full HP. Chuck in a nade.
Walk it off.
Right. So
I'm on fire. Watching your back. 60 seconds remaining.
alrighty. So they have shatter. They have grab. They have. Sorry, I had the cough there. They have shatter. They have grab. They have visor. We have pulse and almost grab. So this isn't looking too great for us. They have the ult advantage here, but I see that we win here anyway. So we'll see how this goes. Probably just we let our team know, hey guys, stay spread out. Don't group up. You know, that way we don't get caught. Multiple people get caught in grab or multiple people caught in shatter.
I've got you in my sights.
30
Good
seconds.
decision, the bail. If we're attempting to still be able to, rather than backing all the way up here, which means that we're putting ourselves out of the fight for an extended period of time, we can maybe look to just nade ourselves, and then that way we can stay looking. So,
30 seconds
for example, let's
remaining.
compare the amount of time that we can stay in the fight longer. Let's say we nade ourselves right here, okay, and we stay in the fight. That means that we were in the fight and healing our team and shooting and stuff. Forward extra 1, 2, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. All right, so for next 5 seconds or 5 or 6 seconds, right? So you just gotta pay attention to that, because yes, that's saving our nade, but is it worth it if we're putting ourselves out of the fight for so long?
Enemy contact.
10 seconds remaining.
Fire at will. Огонь по готовности.
Go. You should join.
All right. So those are pretty fast games. And they're pretty much rolls, so there weren't too many things going on. We do have 20 minutes left in the session. Do you have anything that you would like to do now? Like, you want to do quick play, competitive? Do you have any more replay reviews? Or, sorry, any other replays that we can go over?
I can find another code pretty quickly.
All right.
All right, I just sent it. I don't really remember much.
Incompatible
Oh,
version.
was this last patch?
Yeah, this is a new patch just happened, so
Oh, I
most
guess I
likely
don't have
wouldn't
any more
run.
replay codes.
All right. Well, then, do you want to do quick play competitive? I think competitive. You're what S are you again? You're high
I'm
plat diamond.
yeah, I'm actually 2980 right now. I dropped a
29.
little
All
bit.
right. So yeah. At that rank, probably competitive might be a little bit better, but we might also not be able to finish a whole match. We'll see. I
You wanna
guess.
you wanna do try competitive?
Yeah, we can try competitive.
All right, does everything look fine?
Yep. Let me. Yeah, I have audio. Looks fine to me.
Welcome to Paris.
All right. So since we've already gone over
Never
a whole bunch of stuff,
what
I
you
might
believe.
be, I guess, shot calling here, and just tell you kind of when you should be looking to do what, and I'll give you reminders. That way you can kind of tell like in game, kind of what should I be doing or what should I be looking for. Since we've already gone over a lot of the informational stuff.
Patched up. Get me.
Use both abilities again before recall.
Yeah. If it's you're gonna die, you kind of have to, but you try to do your best to survive while trying to hold on to one of them.
بتعلمني من الألم. Healing in her. ازيك؟
I like that you're right there that you were quick scoping rather than scoping in. That's a good idea when you're up against a Widowmaker.
Hello. Name. Hello. Heal up. Back taking the lead. Hello there.
We have an understanding.
That's much better.
Hey,
Hey. How y'all doing? Hey. Thanks. Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
This will help.
Hey.
That's much better. The pain.
How y'all doing?
I never expect support queue times to be this long.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, sucks especially when you're looking to coach.
Oh,
There you
perfect
go.
timing.
Arriving at Watchpoint Gibraltar. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. What are priorities?
Genji, Monkey, Wall.
Yep, got him right. So I think ult wise you usually are pretty good. So you're very solid on that end. We typically have good timings with it. We know when to use them, and we use them on the right heroes.
Commences in 30 seconds.
Look after yourselves out there. I'll get us home safe.
So during this game, just make sure that our kind of the number one thing that we're concentrating on are the the ability usage, right? How we're using our nade, how we're using our sleep, especially nade though, right? And then how we're positioning ourselves.
So where's the best place for Ana to leave spawn on this map? Because I feel like I always get it wrong.
To what in this map?
To walk out of spawn.
Walk out of spawn, top right. I usually will just do that, or bottom. Like honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's because you're going to the same place anyways. Right here, we're lagging a little bit far back. Yep, just push up to where when they dive up, we can still see them. Okay. Make sure you're not trying to do crazy flicks with your sleep, right? So a lot of the times Anas will just like be completely normal with their shots, and then all of a sudden they go for sleep, and then they go wata, and they just like fire it across half like the map, right? So make sure when we're going for our sleeps, we're being calm with it. We're pretty much just aiming at the same way we'd aim a normal shot, right? Go high ground here, right? Watch where team's at. If the whole team's up on high ground, we need to go there too. And right about now, everybody's full HP. We're looking for a nade.
Whenever you're ready. Mercy low, mercy low. Mercy one, mercy one, mercy one, mercy one.
Remember at that rank, or sorry, at that range, we want to look for the scope and tech.
I need heal on point. Thank you. I want to dive on Torb. Torb, no overload.
Probably looking for our ult here.
No nade and no sleep. Back left.
Alrighty, so
Waited too long to try to sleep.
yeah, make sure you're not
I don't want
chilling on point when that's where they have to go when they contest. Make sure you're looking. Probably we could have looked to use our ult there. Okay, we do have our ult, so we're pressing tab. What are we doing with it?
We're gonna nano blade.
I can dive with ball whenever. Come on, type of airfield.
Get back in the fight.
Alright, can't go for the rotation if it's late like that, because then you're running out to the open. So pay attention to where the enemy team is. We kind of tunnel vision and then we weren't aware of where the enemy was.
I've come back from worse.
The payload is holding that which is unseen.
Nano boost, my ultimate is ready.
Honey, you ready?
Alrighty, now they are winning the fight, but again, make sure you're looking to use your ult there before Monkey came in to primal you. When you're getting primaled, big thing is you're waiting till after he uses jump, right? Because he does have like a 2-second cooldown on his jump. So you wait till after he jumps, and now he's just sitting, like he's the biggest target in the game, and he's just sitting still for you, right? So make sure you don't panic with your sleeps. Line him up. Don't try to do an insane flicks with him, and try to time it.
Get in there.
Nice sleep. Probably wouldn't have gone back in and used nano there because you only had 3 people alive, right? They had closer spawn. They had like 5 people alive, so
Okay,
they had
gotcha.
won the fight. We gotta pay attention to
What's up,
kill
small
feed.
talk?
Look at you can see your team through walls, right? When we're coming back from spawn here, we can see how many people they have.
Their hog that tried to solo me, 1 HP. I'm gonna jump high ground. He's 0-1. Nice. Don't let him res that. I'm on mercy, Fuck, I fucked up my jump. Good. Mercy 1. Nice. Only have Ana heals. I'm on Ana. They have no heals, no healers. Gonna 3 decks. Shit, so fucking famous, bro. She left on him.
Alright. Make sure you're looking to get out here. You only have 2 people alive. And in that last fight, we had given up high ground unnecessarily, and then that kind of put us in a bad situation, right? Try to keep high ground as long as possible here. We've only gone there once, and that means we're missing out on a lot of good positioning.
Nap time.
Very good sleep.
Yep, that'll play. Stick with the fan hair bullshit, bro.
30 seconds.
Can maybe res Genji? He's low. I know I'm going.
Alright. Remember, we're trying to use our nades and our sleeps when they're on a dive like that, especially for ourselves, alright? So be a little bit more selfish with it, hold on to it so that when we get dove, we can use it on them.
Score 1-0. Switching sides. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Don't worry, Dr. Ziegler. If I get in trouble, I'll just recall.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Alrighty, no more Genshis, so probably just going Monkey, full charge Zarya, and then probably don't want to nano too many other people besides that. Try to stick it with the tanks. And I like our initial positioning here. This is really good. And then after they get cart underneath us here, we can look to get to that second high ground.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Torb, Ana, McCree, Mercy. Zarya, Sig.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Okay. If our teammates push up like they're looking to drop on them up there, we might need to potentially push into their line of sight and move to where we can see them.
Oh, I fell. Unlucky.
When you're getting closer to the edges on high ground, and crouch so that you lesser your movement speed, and that allows you to have some more control and stay up there a little bit easier. Right, so you can peek the edges and heal people who are below you without having to accidentally chopping off.
Zarya, help her.
I will keep you here. You're powered up. Get in there.
Make sure you're looking for
I'll
the.
get it.
Make sure you're looking for that self anti whenever you're sitting at 14 HP, right? Prioritize your life over getting an anti off, unless it's a 5-man anti nade.
From a mark of blow.
All right, so pretty much same things as last time. I'm gonna stop the recording here.